Okay, basics about graphing. So we're going to look at graphing linear equations. Y equals mx plus b. So what we'll start with a simple one. We'll start by graphing y equals 2x. To begin with, let's make sure we understand what the m and the b represent in the equation. The m is your slope. The b is your y-intercept. So the slope and the y-intercept are the two numbers that you're going to use when you're doing your graphing. You always start with the y-intercept first. That's the first point you put on the graph. And then the slope simply tells you what direction you're going to go in so you can draw your line. So if we compare this to this, you notice I do have an m value. My m is 2. But I don't have a b value. Since I do not have a b value, that means the b value is 0. So you can take this and write plus 0. When I go to graph now, here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis. The y-intercept is where you start with. So you always start with this number here. This is a point on the y-axis. So I go to my y-axis and I find 0. 0 on the y-axis is right here. After plotting that point, I now use the slope to determine where my next point is. Once I find my next point, I draw a line through the 2 points. So my slope again is given as rise over run. Your run is going to go this way. So your run goes to the right. Your rise is going to go up or down, depending on whether it's positive or negative. So if your slope is positive, you're always going to go up. If your slope is negative, it will go down. Your run will always go this way. Okay? The negative only applies to the top number. The negative does not apply to the bottom number. Your run will always go to the right. If the slope is positive, you will then go up. If your slope is negative, you will then go down. So, comparing this to this, I want to make this look like this. So I simply put a 1 underneath. Now it's a fraction. Here's my rise, here's my run. So this tells me I'm going to go 1 this way, and then 2 up. Over 1, up 2. So, starting from the point you plotted, go over 1, up 2. If you want, you can do that several times. You can go over 1, up 2. Over 1, up 2. What you end up with are a series of points that give you a straight line. So then you simply draw the line through the points. So then the equation y equals 2x simply gives you this line here on your graph. Let's try another. Let's say I have y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. So again, I'm looking at my slope and my y-intercept. My y-intercept is where I'm going to begin. So starting with my y-intercept is positive 2. So on the y-axis, I find positive 2. Make my first point. From there, I will use my slope. Again, the negative always goes with the top number. So my bottom number is my run. The bottom number always goes to the right. So I'm going to go right 3, down 1. So let's do that. Right 3, down 1. There's your second point. If you want, you could keep going. Over 3, down 1. Over 3, down 1. Over 3, down 1. But there's really no need to. Once you have 2 points, that's enough to graph the line. Let's try one more. If I have y equals x. For this one, again, I don't have a number in the back. When I don't have a number in the back, that means your y-intercept is 0. If you want to add that in, you can. Just hit plus 0. So this is my starting point, my slope. When you don't see a number in front of the x, you assume the number is 1. So I can put a 1 there. And since I want my slope to look like a fraction, put a 1 underneath. So starting with my y-intercept, start here at 0. From this, my slope tells me the bottom number is my run. So I'm going to go over 1 and then up 1. So over 1, up 1. Over 1, up 1. Over 1, up 1. There you go. Now, one thing you want to take a check. Whenever your slope is positive, the line has to be going up like this. If the slope is negative, then the line should go down like this. So positive slope will always go up. Negative slope will always go down. That's something you can check just to make sure that your slope matches your graph. Now, vertical and horizontal lines. To graph a horizontal line, a horizontal line will always be given like this. Y equals some number, such as y equals 2. Notice in the equation, you do not have an x, it's just y. Whenever you only have one variable in the equation, it's either going to be horizontal or vertical. Whenever the variable is y, it will always be horizontal. I simply come to 2 on the y-axis, and I draw a line. This is the equation y equals 2. The reason that this gives me this line is because on this line, every value of y equals 2. Because remember, y equals 2 means you go up 2. Well, everywhere on this line, you just go up 2. So since every value of y on that line is 2, this gives me this line. Likewise, if I was to have something like y equals negative 3. For y equals negative 3, I would simply come down to negative 3 and draw a horizontal line. Y equals negative 3. Now, for vertical lines, if I have a vertical line is given as x equals a number, such as x equals 5. For x equals 5, you would simply come to 5 on the x-axis and draw a vertical line. This is the line x equals 5. So you just need to remember, x equals a number, vertical line. Y equals a number, horizontal.